Today, we're going to dive into the story of a man who didn't just march for civil rights, but who completely reshaped American politics from the ground up, the one and only Reverend Jesse Jackson.
So, I want you to picture this. It's November 4th, 2008. We're in Grant Park, Chicago. The energy is absolutely electric. Barack Obama has just won the presidency, becoming the first African American to do so. And in the middle of this massive, cheering crowd, cameras find this man, Jesse Jackson, with tears just streaming down his face. So what's going on here? Why this powerful emotional moment? Well, that's the question we're here to unpack.
To really understand those tears, you have to understand the incredible, decades-long journey that led him right to that spot on that night. And that journey started in a very, very different America. Jesse Jackson was born in 1941, deep in the Jim Crow South, a world built on racial segregation. Now, on top of that, he was taunted as a kid for being born out of wedlock. But he always said that stuff, that pain, it just fueled his ambition. He knew firsthand what it felt like to be told where to sit, where to drink, where you could and couldn't go. And those early experiences with raw injustice, they lit a fire in him that would basically define the rest of his life. And that fire didn't just smolder, it ignited into action pretty fast, creating the foundation for his entire incredible career. What's so amazing when you look at this timeline is just how quickly he rose. I mean, think about it. In 1960, he's just a teenager, 18 years old, getting arrested for a library sit-in. 5 years later, he's marching right alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. from Selma to Montgomery. King clearly saw something special in him, because just 1 year after that, he handpicks Jackson to lead a major economic program in Chicago. And by 71, he's ready to go his own way, founding his own powerful organization. This wasn't a slow climb, this was a rocket ship.
So what exactly was this Operation Breadbasket? Honestly, it was a brilliant strategy. It was all about using economic power as a weapon for justice. The idea was simple but powerful. Organize consumer boycotts to pressure white-owned businesses into hiring black employees and doing business with black-owned companies. It was a whole new front in the Civil Rights War, proving that where you spend your money could be just as powerful as where you march.
Now, Jackson was without a doubt a protege of Dr. King. But it's important to know their relationship was, well, it was complicated. His drive and ambition were obvious to everyone, and after King's horrific assassination in 1968, the way Jackson described King's final moments, it created some serious friction with other leaders in the movement. That, along with other disagreements, eventually led to a break, and he left the SCLC to start his own group, Operation Push. So after establishing himself as a force to be reckoned with in civil rights, Jackson turned his attention to a new and even more audacious arena: national politics. In 1984, Jesse Jackson did something that most people thought was just, well, impossible. He launched a serious, nationwide campaign for President of the United States. At first, the establishment wrote him off as a long shot, a protest candidate at best. But he ended up tapping into something powerful, energizing millions, and completely changing the political conversation in this country.
And this chart right here really tells the story. Look at these numbers. In his first run in '84, he got 3.3 million votes. Amazing in itself. But just 4 years later, in 1988, he more than doubled that, pulling in almost 7 million votes. See, this wasn't just a statement anymore. This was a real, powerful political movement that was gaining serious ground.
And it was at the 1984 Democratic National Convention that he delivered one of the most powerful speeches in modern American history. Using this beautiful metaphor of a quilt, he laid out his vision for what he called the Rainbow Coalition. It was this idea of bringing together all the people who felt left out: black, white, Hispanic, Asian, farmers, women, LGBTQ folks, all the different patches woven together into something stronger. By his second run in 1988, he wasn't just a symbol anymore. He was a serious contender. And then came the Michigan primary. He pulled off this stunning surprise victory, and for a moment in time, Jesse Jackson was the actual front-runner for the Democratic nomination for president. I mean, think about that. He didn't end up winning, but he proved, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that a black candidate could seriously compete for the highest office in the land. But here's a side of Jesse Jackson that a lot of people forget about. His influence didn't stop at the U.S. border. He became a major player on the world stage, in a way that was totally unique. He basically became America's unofficial go-to diplomat.
He would fly into global hotspots, often without the official blessing of the US government, and just get things done. In '83, he goes to Syria and convinces their president to free a captured American pilot. The next year, he's in Cuba, getting Fidel Castro to release 22 Americans. He even met with Saddam Hussein before the Gulf War. He could go places and talk to people that official diplomats just couldn't, using his moral authority to save lives.
And it didn't stop there. He was one of the loudest international voices demanding an end to apartheid in South Africa. Later, President Clinton even made it official, appointing him as a special envoy for democracy in Africa. His global footprint was just immense.
Okay, so let's pull all these threads together. You've got the street-level activism, the groundbreaking presidential runs, his unique global status. How does all of that get us back to that emotional moment in Grand Park?
It's because his campaigns literally changed the political game. You can break it down into 4 key impacts. First, he registered and mobilized millions of people who had never voted before. Second, he proved a black candidate could not just run, but actually compete. Third, he gave us that powerful idea of a rainbow coalition. And finally, he pulled the entire Democratic Party platform in a more progressive direction. He didn't just run, he was laying the foundation.
You can draw a straight line from Jesse Jackson's campaigns to Barack Obama's victory. He created the path, he registered the voters, he built the coalitions, and most importantly, he shattered the perception of what was possible in American politics. He made the improbable feel inevitable.
And that brings us right back to where we started. Those tears in Grant Park, they weren't just about one election. They were the culmination of his entire life's work. It was the emotional release of a man who had made the impossible journey from being forced to sit in the back of a bus in South Carolina all the way to sitting in the front row of history, watching a promise he helped create finally be fulfilled.
It's a monumental, and yes, a complex legacy, but it's a powerful testament to a life spent deep in the arena, fighting for civil rights and political power for everyone.
His life's work was all about expanding that American quilt he spoke of so beautifully. And that really leaves us with a question for our own time. Who, today, is still missing from the pattern?